You got that? Do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Raise it up and drop it. Here's Mary.
He walked on water, floated above buildings, and escaped traps no one dared to try.
That your body is going through, and it's excruciating to be able to not take that breath.
Criss Angel wasn't just a magician, he was a global sensation who blurred the line between illusion and reality. Millions watched in awe, but then he vanished. No grand finale, no goodbye, just silence. No more TV, no more headlines. What really happened? Was it burnout, scandal, or something darker? As the cheers faded, a haunting truth began to emerge. This is why you don't see Criss Angel anymore. Humble beginnings and first spark of magic. Criss Angel, whose real name is Christopher Nicholas Sarantakos, was born on December 19, 1967, at Hempstead General Hospital in Long Island, New York. His family later moved to East Meadow when he was around 9 years old. Criss grew up in a hard-working Greek-American family. His dad, John, owned a donut shop and a restaurant. He worked long hours, but still made time for his wife, Dimitra, and their kids. The family followed Greek traditions and faith, but something very unexpected set Criss apart from everyone else. When he was just 6 years old, his Aunt Stella showed him a card trick. It was simple, but to young Criss, it was like magic from another world. He couldn't figure it out, and it bugged him so much that he begged her to teach him how it worked. That tiny trick changed everything. From that moment, Criss became obsessed with magic. While other kids played outside, he stayed in his room with magic books, video home system tapes of famous magicians, and homemade props. He studied every move, every trick, and every little detail. Harry Houdini, the famous escape artist, especially inspired him. Houdini's wild stunts made Criss dream big. By the time he turned 12, Criss had practiced for years and finally got paid $10 to perform at a friend's birthday party. It may not sound like much, but for him, it was a turning point. He realized this could be more than a fun hobby. This could be his life. As a teenager, Criss ignored the usual path. He didn't go to college like his parents hoped. Instead, he jumped straight into performing. He did small shows at restaurants, bars, and parties around Long Island. He learned how to grab people's attention and keep it. His energy, bold tricks, and fearless attitude helped him slowly build a name for himself. Criss often said in interviews, "It all started when I was 6 years old. My Aunt Stella taught me my first card trick. I started doing birthday parties at 12 and bars at 14. It happened fast." What made Criss special wasn't just the magic, it was the passion. He didn't want to just fool people. He wanted to amaze them, to leave them wondering what was real. Early struggles and local stardom. By the time Criss Angel was just 7 years old, he had already fallen in love with magic. He was fascinated by illusions and how they could make people feel amazed. By the age of 14, he was already performing magic shows in his hometown of East Meadow, New York. He did small shows at local restaurants like the Wine Gallery and earned tips by entertaining kids at birthday parties and guests at diners and neighborhood events. These early shows helped him become more confident on stage and polish his tricks. Even back then, Criss stood out because of his wild energy and high-energy performances. He knew he didn't want to copy other magicians. Instead, he worked hard to create a style that was all his own. He read about magic in public libraries and also studied things like martial arts, music, dance, and even mysticism. In 1995, Criss teamed up with musician Clayton to form a group called Angel Dust. Their performances mixed rock music with dark theatrical magic. Their shows had strange characters, powerful music, and edgy visuals that were totally different from anything people had seen before in magic. In 1998, they even released a music album called Musical Conjurings from the World of Illusions. That same year, Criss had a major turning point. At the World of Illusion convention, he performed a 10-minute act, not once, not twice, but 60 times a day for nearly 2 weeks straight. This marathon of shows helped him become well-known among serious magic fans and proved just how committed and tough he was. Soon after, his big chance came. Criss Angel's off-Broadway show, Criss Angel, Mind Freak, opened at the World Underground Theater in Times Square. It ran for over 600 shows from 2001 to 2003. It wasn't just a normal magic show, it was a mix of street magic, big illusions, emotional stories, and dark theater. This show became his testing ground, where he played with ideas and pushed limits. That's when television came calling. In 2002, he got his first television special on ABC Family, also called Criss Angel Mind Freak. Criss Angel wasn't just a kid who liked magic tricks. He was a driven, passionate artist who wanted to change the way the world saw magic. Building a career, brick by brick. From a small town called East Meadow in New York, a boy named Christopher Nicholas Sarantakos, who later became Criss Angel, started chasing a big dream. He loved magic from a young age and was inspired by the great Harry Houdini. Criss didn't go to fancy schools for magic. Instead, he borrowed books from the library and taught himself card tricks and illusions. As a teenager, he practiced for hours every day. While his parents wanted him to go to college, Criss decided to follow his heart. He took many small jobs, like working as a car hop or doing odd jobs, just to pay for food and clothes while trying to make it in show business. He didn't even have his own car and often used his mother's old Hyundai to travel to magic gigs around town. When he later moved to Las Vegas in the 1990s, he still didn't have much money. He stayed in cheap motels and walked to his shows because he couldn't afford a rental car. But Criss didn't want to copy other magicians. "I stayed away from magicians when I was younger because I didn't want to think like them," he once said. Instead, he created his own style, a mix of magic, music, and deep emotion. He looked different, too, with his rock star clothes, dark eyeliner, and big light shows. In 1995, he started a band called Angel Dust with a musician named Clayton. They put together wild shows that used live music, stage lights, art, and illusions. In 1998, they released their first album called Musical Conjurings from the World of Illusion. The band made 5 albums before stopping in the early 2000s. But these shows proved Criss wanted to create something bigger than magic tricks. He wanted full experiences. In the beginning, life was hard. Criss did hundreds of shows each year, and when no one came, he would stand outside on the street, handing out flyers himself. Sometimes, he performed in diners or at birthday parties, and then worked other jobs during the day. But all that work helped him get better and stronger on stage. His acts felt like short movies, full of excitement and emotion. He turned small magic tricks into full-on performances. That long road of working, failing, and trying again became the strong base for the success he found later. Criss Angel's early days were full of struggle, but he never gave up. His mix of magic, music, and heart made him one of the most unforgettable performers of his time. Rise to fame with Mind Freak. In 2005, Criss Angel Mind Freak premiered on the A&E network, later airing in Canada on the Discovery Channel. This marked the exciting start of Criss Angel's one-of-a-kind television journey. The show first aired on July 20th, 2005, and ran for 6 seasons with a total of 96 episodes, ending on September 8, 2010. From the very first episode, it was clear that this was not an ordinary magic show. In one of his most shocking early stunts, Burned Alive, Criss literally set himself on fire on the streets of Las Vegas as a bold and dangerous tribute. In Levitation, he amazed crowds by lifting people into the air in the middle of downtown Las Vegas, blending street magic with dreamlike performance art. Season 1 also featured the famous wine barrel escape, where he was handcuffed inside a barrel full of water, raised 8 stories high, and released just seconds before it crashed down, paying tribute to Houdini's legendary milk can escape. One of the most unforgettable stunts was body suspension, in which Criss was hung from a helicopter by fish hooks through his back, flying above the red rocks of Nevada's Valley of Fire. This daring act became legendary in the world of magic. Criss Angel quickly built a name for mixing street magic with huge risks, a dark and edgy style, and movie-like storytelling. His act brought the intense energy of rock music to the world of illusion, changing how magic looked and felt on TV. The impact was immediate. The average viewer age on A&E dropped from about 53 to people in their early 30s, making Mind Freak one of the most successful reality shows aimed at younger audiences. Nearly 3 million people tuned in for the Season 3 premiere, and over 1 million watched each episode during the early seasons. Both critics and fans loved how the show blended old-school magic with high-energy thrills. A top executive at A&E said Mind Freak brought a whole new generation into the magic tent, and called Criss tough and risky, but also caring and connected to his fans. This mix of danger and heart made him stand out and helped turn him into a true pop culture icon. Criss didn't just perform, he helped shape every part of the show. He was the creator, executive producer, and director, making sure each episode matched his vision. The first 2 seasons were filmed at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas, and later ones moved to the Luxor, where he performed jaw-dropping illusions across the hotel's buildings. He also used the internet to grow his audience. His famous walk-on-water trick went viral and got tens of millions of views online, proving that his magic could reach far beyond television and into the digital world, where it inspired awe in a whole new generation. Backlash, injuries, and Vegas reinvention. Criss Angel's stunts weren't just cool tricks. They caused real pain and real injuries. As his fame grew, some traditional magicians didn't like his style. They said it was too much like a theater or depended on camera tricks.
Now!
But Criss didn't stop. He wanted to change how people saw magic. In the year 2008, he teamed up with Cirque du Soleil to launch a big show called Believe at the Luxor in Las Vegas. It was supposed to be a magical mix of art and illusion, but many fans and critics didn't like it. The reviews were bad, and ticket sales dropped. Still, Criss didn't give up.
But I was so desperate to achieve what I had in my head.
He took back control of the show, made big changes, and turned it into Mind Freak Live. This time, it worked. The new show was a huge hit and brought Criss back to the top in Las Vegas. But in the year 2015, something happened that no magic could fix. Criss's little boy, Johnny Christopher, who was only 2 years old, was diagnosed with leukemia. Criss was heartbroken.
It's so real. It's not an illusion. It's not like you're gonna wake up the next day and everything's gonna be okay.
He stopped working and focused only on helping his son get better. This wasn't for the cameras or the media. It was a father's choice to fight for his child. The man who had escaped from boxes underwater and walked through walls now sat beside his son during hard hospital treatments.
And so for me, the messaging always had to be positive, optimistic, always trying to give him short-term goals.
Criss didn't talk about it much in public, and as he stayed away from the spotlight, some people thought he had disappeared or failed. But the truth was different. Criss chose to be with his family during the hardest time of his life. His son's illness changed him. It made him think deeply about life, love, and what really matters. When he did return to the stage, including a new version of Mind Freak at Planet Hollywood in the year 2019, he was still the same shocking magician, but now with more heart. His shows still amazed people, but they also showed a softer side of him, shaped by pain and love. Criss Angel as a businessman and brand builder. Criss Angel is not just a magician. He is also a smart businessman who turned his magic fame into a big entertainment business. In the mid-2000s, He started his own company called Angel Productions Worldwide, Inc. in Las Vegas. This company handles his live shows, TV programs, and products. Through it, Criss had full control over big projects like his long-running show Mind Freak Live at the Luxor and later Planet Hollywood, which made around $70 million every year when it was done with Cirque du Soleil. He also started Criss Angel Studios, where he made TV shows like Mind Freak, Magic with the Stars, and Believe, becoming both the star and the producer.
But, for me, I wasn't content with that because I just felt like I had a lot more to offer.
Criss didn't stop there. He began selling his own products like hoodies, t-shirts, DV's magic sets, and more on his website and in stores through a big project called the Criss Angel Magic Collection. That collection had over 250 tricks and was backed by $50 million in marketing. In 2007, he wrote a book called Mind Freak, Secret Revelations, where he shared stories about his life and magic, which became a bestseller. Criss also loves music. He formed a band called Angel Dust in 1995 and mixed music and magic in their shows to create a unique style.
Really enjoy what I do, and they've given me the opportunity to do what I love to do. And
After his young son was diagnosed with leukemia, Criss started a charity foundation to help kids with cancer. His yearly charity events have raised millions and earned him awards from groups like Make-A-Wish and the American Cancer Society. Criss also uses social media like Instagram, Facebook, and X to connect with his fans and promote his work directly. His smart plan is based on owning his work, making money through fan support, and mixing his love for magic with his passion to help others.
I want to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. It sounds like a big dream, but I make my dreams reality.
By building everything around himself, shows, gear, music, and charity, Criss Angel became more than a magician, turning pain into purpose. Criss Angel, who once amazed the world by walking on water and floating above tall buildings, is now known for something even more powerful, turning his pain into purpose. His son's disease was the moment that changed Criss's whole world.
Has come a long way. My child had a type of cancer called ALL. It was 95% curable.
The bright lights, wild stunts, and huge crowds took a back seat. Suddenly, Criss had a new mission, helping children with cancer. He started the Johnny Christopher Children's Charitable Foundation, also called the HELP Foundation, which stands for Heal Every Life Possible. Criss didn't just want to raise money, he wanted to raise hope. He used his magic and fame to show people the real struggles that sick kids and their families face. He held big events, powerful telethons, and even let the world see his own heartbreak, inviting cameras into his life to show what it's like to be a father of a child fighting cancer. His shows in Las Vegas changed too. They weren't just about tricks anymore. They had touching video clips and special moments to honor the kids that his foundation was helping.
Through my art, a portion of the show towards these kids, and I use my art to move people.
It became clear that behind all the makeup, leather jackets, and flashy illusions was a caring dad trying to make a real difference. While Criss kept performing, his style stayed full of drama and mystery. Dressed in gothic clothes and doing bold tricks, people began to whisper strange things. Some thought he had dark or magical powers, but Criss always told the truth. It was all illusion, built on hard work, practice, and passion.
Because I know the challenges that we face doing it. In the world with the greatest brains, the greatest creative forces, technical forces.
His real magic wasn't floating in the air. It was his courage, his kindness, and his big heart. He showed the world that pain doesn't have to break you. It can push you to do something meaningful. Even when Criss stepped out of the spotlight for a while, it wasn't because he disappeared. It was because he was busy helping others, especially kids in pain. Whether he was on stage in front of thousands or sitting beside a child's hospital bed, Criss stayed true to his new purpose, to bring hope. His story proves that even life's darkest times can lead to something beautiful. Criss Angel is more than a magician. He is a fighter, a father, and a reminder that love is the strongest magic of all. His legacy is not just about jaw-dropping tricks, but about the power of never giving up, the love of a parent, and turning sorrow into strength. Influence on pop culture and legacy. Among a new generation, Criss Angel changed how people saw magic, especially for younger audiences in the early 2000s. Before him, many thought magic was old-fashioned or only for children's parties, but he gave it a bold new look. With his black clothes, spiky hair, tattoos, and rock music, Criss looked more like a rock star than a magician. His TV show Mind Freak, which aired on A&E, became a huge hit and helped bring magic back into popular culture. Teenagers and young adults who had never been interested in magic started watching his show because it felt exciting, dark, and cool. Criss performed street magic, shocking stunts, and illusions that felt dangerous and real. This style helped make him stand out from traditional magicians who wore suits and top hats. His influence spread beyond TV. He appeared on major platforms like WWE and Larry King Live, and was even spoofed on Saturday Night Live. He helped inspire a new wave of magicians like Dynamo and Justin Flom, who copied his edgy, modern approach to magic. Many of them started doing magic on YouTube and social media, blending tricks with storytelling, just like Criss had done on TV. Criss also brought magic to new places like Las Vegas, where his stage show, Believe with Cirque du Soleil, became a long-running attraction. His success made magic trendy again, especially for a generation raised on social media and fast entertainment. Even though he's not as visible in the media today, his impact is still clear. New magicians continue to mix street style, music, and illusions in ways that Criss Angel helped make popular. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more amazing stories.